Welcome to the third live session of Principles of Industrial Engineering. So today we will be discussing on different factors which should be considered for selection of the site, so that plant, whether for manufacturing a product or for services, can be located, and we can come up accordingly for manufacturing the goods for providing the services. So let's start with the session.
Okay, the first question is the load distance method aims at which of the following? Increase both proximity and total weight, and decrease both proximity and total weighted load to be traveled. So, well, first let's understand what is load distance method. So this helps in minimizing the load and distance to be traveled. It will help in locating the plant or warehouse, or I'll just give an example, any set place where you need to set up an industry or anything in such a way that the load and distance to be covered is minimum is minimized in distribution of things to the different distribution points from a particular warehouse or the plant location. So you just write it. This method helps in minimizing the load and distance to be traveled. So it will help in locating the plant or warehouse in such a way that the load and distance to be covered is minimized in distribution of the things. Distribution of the things to the different distribution points from a particular warehouse or the plant location. So, basing on this, So basing on this, if we look at the points, can anyone just type the answer if anyone is able to understand what the correct option is? Whether it will decrease the proximity or increase the proximity. See, since it will minimize the distribution of things to different distribution points, so we decrease the total weighted load to be traveled and increase the proximity. This leads to correct option is option B. Correct option is option B. Moving on to the next question. The coordinates of two sides are this and this. Okay. XP and YP and XQ and YQ. And load W is transferred from P to Q. According to the load distance method, the factor to be minimized is which of the following? So, is it visible, whatever I am writing? Okay, okay, okay. I know. Is the solution of this question number 2, is it visible to all of you? Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay, I'm not able to. Okay, this correct option is here. We have if we take a graph, we have coordinates in axis, y-axis, x-axis, and y-axis. So, okay, so it is P. Let's assume this is P, and again, let's assume this is Q. Again, here, let's assume this is P, Q. So, what will happen is here first it will be P, Q. So the when we travel from, this is our normal uh, line formula. So xp minus xq and yp minus yq, this will, and into the weight, this will come out to here, give you a load distance method. From here, this will be the correct option. If you go to all other options, here it is xp minus yp, xq minus yq, xp minus yp. This is not suitable for the our line point formula. So this is the correct option. Moving on to the next question. Okay, the methods that consider weighted loads and coordinates of different plants for the selection of sites. Which of these are the following methods? Any guesses? Any answers? Okay, so the correct option is uh, center of gravity method and your load distance method. Now we just discussed the load distance method, and we also did a question according to it in the previous question. Now the center of gravity method, what is it? Is it the coordinate? Suppose you have a coordinate x. That coordinate x is identified through the algebraic sum of the distance to be traveled from different points. Sum of the distance to be traveled from the different points on the x-axis and corresponding weight divided by sum of all these is the load. So in this case, basically, uh, suppose we consider some selection of location. Their coordinates are identified with reference to that same point. Okay. So with reference to the distance, then the distance to travel from the possible site to the different points is identified. That is EI. Okay. And the kind of load which is to be transferred, which is to be moved in out, that is also identified. Then it is obtained, and sum of all these two gives us the location which will be leading to the minimum distance. Minimum distance and load to be moved. Thus, it helps in identification of the location which will increase the proximity and reduce the load to be traveled, reduce the load into distance to be traveled for realizing a particular location. So this is about the load distance method and the center of gravity method. In center of gravity method, we bring out the algebraic sum of x coordinate. Okay, this is identified through algebraic sum of the distance to be traveled and corresponding weight divided by Moving on to the next question, the correct option for this option is 2 and 4. Now here we have a question where the the return on investment, we have to calculate the ROI. We have to calculate the ROI. Return on investment. So here return on investment is sales minus expenditure by initial investment. So now we have different sites, site A, B, C. So we have to find out which will be most effective in terms of economy. And here we have the initial investment, sales expenditure and other factors. So what we will do is we will calculate the return on investment for each site. Return on investment for A is equal to, now sales minus expenditure by initial investment. This becomes 3.5 minus, when we add up all this will be 2.6 by initial investment is 5. This becomes 0.18. Similarly, return on investment for B is equal to 2.5 minus 1.9 by 5 is equal to 0.12. Similarly, return on investment for C is equal to 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2, this is becomes by 5 is equal to 0.2. So since the maximum return on investment is obtained for site C, this is the maximum. So site C will be most effective in terms of economy. Okay, moving on to the next question. Plant layout is to be modified for the reason of which is the reason? I think I missed a question. Any guesses, any options, any answers? Well, the correct answer. Okay, the correct option is option B. Well, okay. So there are various situations where we are forced to improve the existing layout, such as a new product is to be launched, or we want to come up with a new manufacturing facility, and or entire layout is to be planned, for which the entire layout is to be planned. A very long throughput time, very like there will be also incidents where there is very long throughput time, very frequent accidents, uncomfortable working environment for the workers. So in these all conditions, it is required to modify and improve the existing layout. So moving on to the next question. The characteristics of a process layout are which of the following? नहीं नहीं करूँ सब कर दो नहीं चलेगा साउंड करेगा ना होता Okay, sorry for the disturbance. So, okay, the characteristics of a process layout. Which of these is the machines are arranged as per the function, variety of products can be produced, always systematic flow of the material occurs to operational area and general purpose machines. Any options for this? Well, see, in process layout, the facilities are arranged as per their functions or as per their rule. So, so if we go according to this, this is the basic criteria of a process layout. So this kind of layout is to be justified when variety of products are to be produced, but the volume or the number of units is to be produced is limited. So uh, the variety, volume or gen. So keeping this in mind, the correct option is option 1, 2, 4. Here machines arranged as per their function or per their rules, so or the kind of the jobs they do. This is the first criteria. This kind of layout is to found to be justified when variety of the products are to be produced. A variety of products are to be produced, but the volume or the number of units to be produced is limited. Now, general purpose machines are used to be are used like the central lathe drilling machine to perform the variety of these jobs. Okay. Now here what happens is, this is when the facilities and machines are grouped as per their function or as per their nature, we can find the flow of the product from one functional area to another. So for completion of the product, there will be movement of material from one functional area to another. So no systematic movement, because the design of the product and the type of the product which are being manufactured in this case are changing. So this is no systematic movement. Just write mention this point. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Which of these are the drawbacks of a process layout? Any answers? See, we know that in product layout, things are arranged in particular sequence. Like we just discussed, some of the characteristics of process layout over there here. So next is, these are the advantages, or these are the characteristics of a process layout. So basing on this, we can just estimate what are the drawbacks of a process layout, like in which conditions a process layout cannot be used. So the okay, so I'll explain it. In a process layout, the facilities or machines are arranged as per their function or as per their rule or the kinds of jobs they do. So when it is arranged as per their function, what happens is there will be some times, like even if a one or two machine goes off or the breakdown happens in one or two machine, the entire production facility is not affected. So here it easily handles the machine breakdown or breakdown of few machine. The production is not much affected. So also the product may follow long routes or the distance to be traveled during the production may be long. So there is a possibility of little bit backtracking, not necessarily always there will be forward movement. So basing on this, there will be congestion in the kind of the setup. Okay. So correct option is option C. Option C here. That is option 2. This is the drawback. Option 4. Inventory process is very high. Option 5. These are the drawbacks. So this is the advantage. It can handle. Okay. So like I said, even if one or two machine goes off or the breakdown is there in one or two machine, the entire production facility, entire production facility is not affected. Now, next is the product may follow long routes or the distance to be traveled during the production may be long. So there is a possibility of little bit backtracking. Okay. So not necessarily there will be a forward movement. Because of this, there will be a congestion in this kind of setup. Now it takes very long time to complete the job. Means the throughput is very long. Takes long time to complete the job. Throughput time is really long for this. Okay. Now also we will notice that a lot of items are pending for further processing or completion of the processing. So in process inventory in this case of process layout is very high. This is one of the major drawbacks because inventory is very high, and also there is no systematic movement of the material, so it is not possible for mechanized material handling. No systematic movement of the material. We need specialized or skilled workers because they need to handle the variety of the job. This is also one more drawback. We need specialized or skilled workers because they need to handle the variety of the jobs. Okay, these were the drawbacks of process layout. Moving on to the next question. The layout in which congestion is minimum but complete production is stopped due to failure of one machine. So this will be easy for you just because we discussed all the drawbacks of process layout in the previous question. So basing on this, you can easily say this belongs to which type of layout. Any answers? Please type your answers in the chat box. Product layout. The correct option is product layout. So what happens is product things are arranged in particular sequence. There is continuous and almost linear flow of the material from beginning to end. So the disadvantage is that if failure of one machine in the whole production will stop. So failure of even a very single machine is critical. Moving on to the next question. The preferred layout for a large aircraft assembly. Which one is the correct option? Any guesses for this? Okay. So the correct option is fixed position layout. Fixed. Yes. Fixed position is the correct option. Fixed layout. Here. Here. No specific arrangement of machines is done. No specific arrangement of machines. Basically, in this case, location of a major part or component of the material is fixed and then all the machines, labor, material are brought close to it and they will be processed. Okay. Okay. So in this case of the major thing is the machines, labor, material, these are brought close to it and they will be processed. They will be working on this major part and this major part or component is processed using different machines, materials and the labor. At the end, we get the output. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Moderate variety and volume of the production are realized in which type of layout? Any options? Any answers? We already discussed what is product layout, what is fixed layout. So next we have cellular layout, multiple plant layout. Okay, so here the correct option is cellular layout. So we will understand what is cellular. This kind of situation, like cellular layout, is used when we have a moderate volume and we require a large variety to be catered. Then this kind of the layout is found to be suitable. So here basically it gives us some kind of situation. Like if there is a minor change in the design of the product, then that can be easily accommodated because the machines are arranged according to the sequence, the type of perform operations to be performed. So minor change in the design of product can be easily accommodated and it is able to cater to the need of variety as well as the moderate volumes requirement. It gives us some kind of fluctuation. This is the most important point of cellular layout. It's like if there is a minor change in the design of the product, that can be easily accommodated because the machines are arranged according to the sequence of the type of operations to be performed. Okay, moving on to the next question. So which of the following situations include middle level change needed during the modification of the plant layout? So this is a very interesting question. Like we have these type of situations and we have some uh, changes like major changes, minor changes, middle level changes. So different levels, uh, there are different levels as per the kind of extent of change which is needed during the modification of the plant layout. So these are where like minor, middle or major. So in case like let's take an example of minor change. Minor change, we have some things like due to poor working environment, some kind of ventilation is to be improved. So minor alteration in the building facility is facilitated. So for improving the work environment, if some exhaust or some system is to be fitted in or the work environment is improved or simply inspection point is changed, some minor machineries are added, additional machineries are installed to meet the minor changing demand for the product which is being manufactured. So these are the minor changes when the plant layout is modified for improving the work environment or changing the inspection method or relocating the machine, one or two machines for accommodating minor change in design. Next is, what is a middle level change? Middle level change is realized when we want the modernization of some of the facilities, or middle level change will be needed when we want the design of the product to be modified, and for what we need to add some of the machines. We need some additional packing or dispatching points during inspection points. So we need some additional modifications in apart from the existing things. Now, what is a major change? Major change in the plant layout is needed when the complete facility is old, outdated or obsolete. So, obsolete facility needs complete modernization of the entire plant, or the entire new range of products to be incorporated, or a new facility is to be developed, new facility, new location. This may be needed when the market is shifted to some other location. So, we want to come up with newer production facility, newer processes to be installed. That is the major level change. So, minor, middle, major, these are the different levels as per the kind of extent of of change. So, according to this modernization is some this is middle, this is minor, improving the work environment. Complete modernization of the entire plant is major. And addition of few machines to make some changes is again minor. Okay. I hope this is clear. Moving on to the next question. To develop the layout, few things are to be realized for which following principles are used. Principle of integration of resources, minimum distance principle, flow forward, all of the above. So we will discuss one by one. The correct option is all of the above. So we will discuss one by one about each principle. So principle of integration of resources. Here integration means the facility, services and other resources are arranged in such a way that they are well integrated with each other for a smooth flow of things. Now this is done so that minimum material handling is increased, reduced throughput time, reduced congestion and reduced in-process inventory can be achieved. Thus, integration of resources is done actively. Now, what is minimum distance principle? Now, in this method, the facilities are arranged in such a way that the distance to be traveled are minimized. So, distance to be traveled by each, like manpower or material in course of the uh, course of the production is minimized. So minimum distance principle, then only the flow forward occurs. Like this is the case when the material always moves in the forward direction towards the completion from the beginning and there is no backtracking. That is how the facilities are arranged. Yeah. Please proceed. Yes, yes. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. See, effective work. But this is about the type of change we want to like we want to bring. Okay, this is not about that. We are not here focusing on the quality of the work, or this is like when suppose we want to upgrade our facility. Okay, so if we need a change in work environment, so that will be some small changes in your location or facility. Okay, like you need to have proper ventilation or some better safety methods. So whatever changes you are bringing, that won't affect much. It's not about in terms of productivity. It won't affect much in your uh, utilization of resources, or in your space, or in your whatever the existing, it is in comparison to whatever your existing layout is. So when you do something to improve the work environment, it won't affect that existing layout much. But suppose if you want to completely upgrade a facility, so in that case, the changes which are brought with respect to your previous layout or previous facility, previous whatever equipments are there, or whatever the even you can say that workers, everything will change. In that case, that is the major layout, because the change here which we bring is in a large scale. So, and middle level of changes, it is somewhere in between the minor and major level of change. Like here, when we suppose, we can take example of when we want to change some we can add some uh, machines in addition to the existing machines. When we want to add some uh, uh, change in location, change in your we want to expand. Yeah. So yeah, fixed layout. Hmm. Yes. Yes, see, suppose like as you said, aircraft assembly options, when we do that. So in those cases, see, again these are somewhat specific changes as per your needs. So in a fixed layout, when you change something, because here we need to bring the uh, uh, equipment, or your equipment, machines, everything, they need to be brought near that your assembly. Okay, you cannot take. So again, that may be an exception cause, exception case. But overall, whatever this middle, minor, or major thing is there, it is an overall idea. But again, see, if also in a fixed layout, if something you are changing something which is affecting the entire facility in a big way, like a small change in your safety or work related issues and bar principles, that won't, if it is not affecting your industry in a big way, then it will always be considered as a minor layout, minor change. Okay. In some, yeah, yeah, some cases there may be exception. Moving on to the next question. Okay. This we were discussing. Mm, Principle of integration of resources, minimum distance. Minimum distance, it is always the flow forward. That is the material always moving the forward direction towards the completion from the beginning. There is no backtracking. That is how the facilities are arranged. Okay. Now, why I am focusing on flow forward is because it will always help in reducing the material handling and improve flow of the material. So this is some of the principles which are used in developing the layout. Okay. Now, characteristic features of a cellular layout. Any options and answers? Okay, so the correct option is cellular layout. So I will just give me a moment. I'll just okay, cellular layout, or is a group technology based layout. Now here the machines or facilities are arranged in case. So so it is called the group technology layout. So what happens in the cellular layout is we create cells of different sets of machines, equipments, and facilities. So like different jobs will be different, which will be performed the job in these cells. So efforts are made up to come up with combinations of different sets of machine in such a way that each cell is independent. So idea is the grouping of machines for doing one type of product involving various machines. So each cell will be independent on its own to a particular type of the jobs. Okay. So what we do is we identify the similarity in the product, similarity in products for especially with respect to type of operations to be performed. So like we create the group of the parts which we can say as families common as a part family. Okay. So So what is our main is we grouping of machines for doing a set of operations, similar type of components with respect to features, and it can also be said of a hybrid of product and process layout. Now, in this type of layout, there is flexibility in batch size manufacturing and sequence of operations. Okay, so and also this kind of situation can be used when there is a limited volume or moderate volume and large variety to it is required. So this kind of layout is found to be suitable. That is, it gives us some kind of fluctuation like we already discussed. So seeing all this also uh, seeing if there is a minor change in the design of product, then that can be easily accommodated because the machines are arranged according to the sequence, according to the type of operations to be performed. Seeing all these points, seeing all these points, we know that these all points are satisfied. Minimum in process inventory, more job satisfaction, reduced low combination of product and process layout. Next question is, okay, this is a pretty straightforward question. Salary paid to securities and maintenance staff in an organization is. We discussed fixed cost, variable cost, indirect cost, total cost, everything elaborately in our last session. So, if anyone has any particular doubts, you can always go back and see those out. But still, I'll just mention one small thing. Total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost into number of items. Okay, this is the total cost. So, when it comes to the salary paid to security and maintenance staff in an organization, that is always a fixed cost. Okay, someone answered variable cost. Moving on to the next question. Layout in which process inventory is least. So we discussed on any guesses? Product layout or process layout or fixed layout? Yes, correct. Product layout is the correct option. So what happens here is, uh, like we already discussed, what is a product layout, process layout. So why in process inventory? Now, advantage of this that we can implement the mechanized material handling system since the movement is continuous. So there is very minimum time for completion of the product. So minimum time, so it requires very minimum in process inventory and very minimum congestion. Therefore, it offers very effective use, like effective use of the machines, effective use of the manpower. So all these will be working continuously for smooth flow. So minimum time of production means very minimum throughput time, minimum congestion, minimum inventory. So all these are like it is a very balanced kind of production, which means all machines, manpower are fully engaged for continuous work. That in turn will be helping to increase the effective utilization and increase the output from the facility. I hope it is clear. Just I want to focus that here there is almost linear flow of the material in course of production. Now this is the advantage. Because of this we have very minimum in process inventory, because we have very minimum time for production of the product. So there is very minimum congestion and we have effective usage of the uh, effective utilization, and thus we increase the output from the facility. I just write the points. moving on to the next question. In the center of gravity method of location, decision is made on weight based on which of the correct option is minimum distributional cost. So what happens in a CG method? We identify the location where a warehouse or a plant or a shop can be located. So this is done basing on distribution points. Okay. So what happens is in the, like we use here also we use a 4B system for locating the or identifying location where the warehouse, plant, or bank or hospital can be located. So with reference to these some point with respect to some reference point, the location of the reference sites, it is identified. Some coordinates are identified. Okay, x and y coordinates. So if all these points locations uh, to be required, we should locate our. So what we do is here we see the distance to be traveled. It should be minimum for these locations. So basically, uh, we identify the distance to be traveled for each sites are minimized, and again each should be having their own weight according to the location. That is the distance to be traveled with respect to some reference point. Suppose there are two different points on on a map. Okay, so we identify where is the CG for such kind. Okay, then when we then we further consider the load to be moved and the distance to be traveled. So the load and distance to be traveled are considered for optimizing the location. Thus, we identify the location of the point so that the load and distance to be traveled are minimized. So the, these load and distribution, load and weight, load and distance to be traveled, these are called as the distribution points. So for this we always need to identify the minimum distributional cost. Okay, so on to the next question. Farmer invests rupees. Okay, this is again a question on ROI, which we discussed some point time back. Now ROI is equal to sales minus expenditure by initial investment. Okay, so here now the sales in now it is 10,000. He invests initially 10,000 to farm the crop and he gains rupees 12,000 in return. Okay, so the sales is 12,000 minus investment initial expenditure is 10,000 by by 10,000. Now here that was earlier in terms of um, since here after getting we will get it in point t, it is in terms of percentage, that will be 20%. Okay, since the question is asked in terms of percentage. The plant location selected according to a total load distance score should have which? I think till now we discussed this quite many times. This will be least load distance score or least distribution points. Primary factor for the selection of regional location. Okay, this is the question purely based on like our intuition or common sense. Like obviously, our location should always be close to the market availability. Most advantages because it will be most in profit, maximum profit, increase the sales, every low uh, the cost involved will be less, your expenditure will be less. So market availability should always, our selection of regional location should always see the needs. It should cater to the needs of the market. Okay, I think we have reached the end of the questions. So any doubts we can discuss because we still have time. Yeah, hello. Any doubts we can discuss or else we can end the session. You can also ask your doubts in this announcement tab if you uh, have any doubts in the later stage. So, are there any doubts or anything apart you want to ask, like any other regarding submissions of assignment or any other issues? Okay, so if there are no further doubts, we can end the session. Thank you all for attending the session. Uh, let's meet next week again. Thank you all.